is Waqar Qamri, a type and visual designer based in Kashmir, and today I would like to showcase our little project called Kashmir Type Hunt. As the name clearly suggests, type hunt would mean hunting or looking for type found in different forms and mediums throughout the city. We have been trying to archive type forms or letter forms in different mediums throughout our locality. It's an open source project where every member of the community can take a snap and upload it to the common drive and make it accessible for everyone. These type forms can range from, I would say, the hand chiseled marble type forms found on the gates of Dargah Hazratbal to the much more simpler yet really beautiful vintage styled hand painted signage on one of the convenience stores at the hill resorts of Pahalgam. It also includes the much written and spoken script of Nastaliq, which is the primary medium for writing the Kashmiri script. I will get to the history of it in the next slides, but here I will also like to showcase a very vintage and beautiful and even nostalgic part of our community, which are the theatres of Kashmir. Even though they are currently not operational, but the vintage vibe they had to it, or the neon signs that they carried, pay a homage to the city. Coming to the Latin explorations, we have, I would say, the most of the signboards you will see throughout the city are in Latin. Due to globalization, the Latin script is a really common sight throughout this place. Thus, the majority of signage boards, or even the major visual communication will be done in the Latin scripts. These explorations have ranged from, I would say, a script on Shikara during the winters, while the 3D effects on signage through the city of Lal Chowk and many more places. During the, I would say, pre-2000s and late 90s, the hand-painted signage community was really flourishing throughout the valley of Kashmir. Thus, you will see really good specimens of these type forms, where the artist tries to add a touch of their own artistic identity to the signboard, thus giving a shop their own individual identity. That way, they have been trying to mimic, I would say, certain effects, be it chrome, be it 3D, or even flat, but yet in a more beautiful and intricate way of their own. Another explorations which is really common is the Urdu one. A little brief intro about the Kashmiri script is that, like many other scripts, I would say, in this part of the world, it was mostly transferred from one generation to another generation through spoken text only. Like you could only, there was no written specimens. However, there are two main common scripts. One is called Shada and other is called Nastaliq, in which Kashmiri is written. Due to certain, I would say, nuances, the Shada script died down because it was restricted to a really small set of people, and the majority of the commoners were illiterate. And thus, I would say, due to the coming of Mughals, the Mughal era, they made these scripts quite common and educated the masses, and thus the Kashmiri script nowadays is mostly written in the Nastaliq script. You will find these specimens throughout the city. Another favorite piece of mine is this board found at, I think it's a school, senior secondary school in Anantnag, Islamabad, where you will find different specimens, not just Latin or Urdu classified, but even in the Urdu script you will see some specimens of Naskh, like the Babul Ilmul Adab, which is quite actually in Arabic, the Naskh script there, while on this portion you will see this is written in the Nastaliq script. This is Nastaliq, this is Naskh, and then you have these Latin explorations as well. Thus, I won't just classify it as a gate of a school, but rather a beautiful art piece where the artist was able to showcase his artistic craft and hold on different scripts at the same time. So a little intro, how did it all start? Well, a couple of my friends, mainly Vasik, had the idea to start this little community. We were all, my friend Sharik, Vasik, and we already were documenting this stuff individually, and I would say sharing it on our social medias. But then Vasik had the idea, ki, why not? Let's create a platform where everyone can submit their photos, and let's see how it goes from there. What started as individuals documenting type has evolved in a really beautiful community. And yes, it's been almost a year in, I think it will be a year in November now. So initially we had, I would say, a regular social media Instagram page where people manually send their photos through our DMs and text, and we will upload them. But we felt that this is getting quite hectic and not so user friendly, so we wanted to find an alternative. Also, one of the few rare specimens of Devanagari type throughout the city. So what we did was we created a common drive platform where everyone could easily auto publish the photos in this drive. So it was necessary it was uploaded on the Instagram page. You could directly come on the drive, check out the whole gallery, and even submit your finds. To take it a step further, I think in this May, one of our dear friends, Hadali Punjabi, really helped us with setting up the website. We had the opportunity of contacting him through one of our type walks, and thus he was able to connect with the community, and we just pitched him this idea that we should have a really rough website for that Kashmir Type Hunt. So the basic mechanism of this website is that the photos that get uploaded on the drive, they get auto refreshed on the web on the front page every day. So the most recent photos gets published on the front page. So the process and the data wasn't lost, rather it was a much more accessible and a better experienced version of the Google Drive. The main reason, I would ask you, why exactly did we start Kashmir Type Hunt? Three main reasons come to my mind, and the first of them is documentation. As a visual designer, I think it's a huge gathering of resources for everyone out there, not just visual designers, but even historians or people who deal in, or just people who would like to see the history or the richness of such type forms. For example, the photo on the right called Mahata and Co. I was quite shocked to see this photo was taken around 1940s and 1950s, and to see such craftsmanship of type at such time is really remarkable. It really wonders what exactly happened throughout era that led to this time of the year. So I think it's really important to document stuff as much as we can. Even this shop, this is a rosewater shop throughout at the banks of Khanka. I would say on the sides of Khanka. Khanka is a really pristine shrine of a Sufi saint who came in Kashmir around 1200s or 1300s. I'm not sure about the date exactly, but this shop is as old as that era. And even the script on the top here, it's in Persian. Actually, I can't even read it, what it says. But this shop, they sell the rose water of different kinds. Like you have the Arak Gulab here, Lohe Arak, and these are the different variants of rose water they have throughout the shop. And thus, I think as a designer, it's really important to document such stuff for us as well, and for the coming generations as well. Another main thing is to educate the people around about the legacy we have had and how to incorporate it. For example, I was going through the place of Achbal, and we saw this signboard called as Rafiki Sound Engineers, while you could easily see the new board at the top called Surya. So I even asked that, I would say, shopkeeper how old that sign is. He had no clue, since it was as old as his parents' time. So just to have a little stark comparison, we have such a rich legacy of typefaces which make your individual shop unique throughout the valley. So we have to have emphasis on such boards and lettering forms rather than these new mediums. And That's a really important conscience on not just us designers but to the whole community. That's why education is, or educating the community is really important. And finally, we are looking to revival of the settler forms, though it may take some times or even years, but we are trying to it. Just to showcase that this is a hustling street of Lajop, where you can see different forms and letter forms of the Arabic jewelers and the fancy jewelers, and even this Lake Raj Gupta. What I wanted to showcase here is how these shops distinctly stand out, other than these Shabnam don't advocate or these boats on such generic type forms. Yes, it's quite clear with the coming of computer age, it was much easier to get these digitalized boards or flex boards printed, but in the process we lost our identity or our uniqueness. So we ought to hold on to them and preserve it and even revive them so that we can use them in our daily day-to-day lives and for the coming generations as well. And finally, puns. We cannot live without puns. Photography is a love affair, while Rijwan, salon hair. I think these are really intrinsic part of our communication, making those little silly mistakes while we make our signage or letter forms throughout. Communication, or rather, excuse me, community is an essential part of Kashmir Type Hunt. We have tried certain things to build up our community and to have the social interactions coming up and educating the masses. Luckily, during last year, when the COVID cases were exceptionally low, we had the luxury of hosting our little official type walk through the hustling market of Lal Chowk, which is based in Srinagar. And thus, I would like to showcase this little video my friend Salma Masood worked on. Uh, Documenting type through the cities of Kashmir is a little tricky with the restrictions and the army and even the civilians making queries. What exactly are you guys doing? What's happening? So initially we tried to answer all these queries. We're documenting type. We are doing this, but with time it got a little bit. I would say after 10 to 15 queries continuously, we had to cater to a different route. No, it's for a college project, so people couldn't bother us. I really like the idea, I would say, how the community came together on this type walk. We didn't expect people to actually come, but I was really happy and glad that they came, and we were able to talk about type in different forms and other educating the people. So even the perspective of everyone who came on the walk before and after the walk was quite stark, that they were able to appreciate these little forms, like focusing specifically on one A or one edge, and thus seeing them not as just type or printed names but rather as art pieces or a part of our history and identity. COVID was a little tricky since we couldn't do much type walks, so we took a different alternative of having the 36 days of challenge remixed with Kashmir Type Hunt. To the non-design community, 36 days of type is a yearly challenge where you have to experiment with one letter form every day. Like today will be A, then B, then C. Thus, we try to incorporate these challenges in Kashmir Type Hunt, where you could go through our gallery and work on individual letters, taking A from any of the boards and remix or recreate it in your own style, or even try to recreate the original. And the response was really good. Designers throughout our community and outside the community really appreciated this thing, and even I participated, adding to different forms and different characters. A few of my favorites is the D, the S, and the Y, and I think these are really well done and well crafted. Yes, this leads to the end of our presentation. Where does Kashmir Type Hunt go from onwards, we do have certain plans of maybe having some more type walks when the COVID situation dies down a little, and also having some workshops, getting these painters or signboards with us and educating how the prayer process is, how they write these signage, or how they can educate the masses, getting in touch them with the community and with the people directly. We also have this idea of maybe commissioning them on building certain letter forms and then digitizing the forms as fonts, so that they are, I would say, they live forever and people can even download them, so that a portion of the profits are given back to the community as well. I guess this is it. Thank you so much, Type Weekend, letting me talk you through the Kashmir Type and the journey we have been so far. I wish you all the luck and